Often told, be the change that you see. What does that mean? To me, it is a very empowering statement. And I think empowerment is the biggest gift that you can give yourself or to anybody else. Be the change that you see, that you want to see, actually means that you are in charge of your life. You are in charge of every change that happens to you and to those around you. And that is how it should be. Most of us are so used to things changing around us and then later adjusting to them that we do not realize that we can be empowered enough to make the change in our lives. When you get up in the morning, just imagine, as soon as you get out of bed, if you were to know that whatever I'm going to be doing in life today, everything that I'm going to be doing is something I love doing because I'm the one who's making it possible. I'm the one bringing about the changes in my life. I am the CEO of my life. How exciting life would be then. You would be the one who is in charge of any change in your life. Now, in order to bring about a change, what do you need to know? You need to know what is your purpose in life. What do you really want to do? And in order to understand the purpose of your life, you need to know who are you? Who am I? So that brings us to the question, who am I? I'm going to be talking about 6 steps that can help us spark change, spark innovation in our lives. So the first step would be to understand who am I? Who am I really? What am I doing in this world? What is the purpose of my life? Why did I come here? Can I make things happen around me? Did life choose me? Or did I choose my life? I had a friend, a designer, and I asked her one day, I said, what is your inspiration? And she told me Maya. So I thought she has a friend called Maya who is her inspiration. She said, no, it's not a friend, it's Maya. So I asked her, illusion? She said, no, it's not illusion either. Maya is the person I would have been had I not been a wife, had I not been a mother, had I not been a daughter, had I just been myself. There are so many roles that we play in life every day. I'm a wife, I'm a mother, I'm a career woman, I'm a friend, I'm a daughter. But then who am I? Who am I really? What is my core? Who is the Maya within me? Each one of us has to discover the real me, the core. That is who you really are. That is who you really want to be. So you need to get to know yourself. And how do you do that? You do that through a number of ways. You do that by understanding yourself, by understanding your mind, by understanding your very soul. That brings us to the sexiest part of the human body, which is the mind. So when the mind is the place where the most thrilling, exciting bits of life happen. You want to lead an exciting, dynamic life, get inside your mind. This is the one place where thoughts change all the time. New ideas, innovations, thoughts. They're changing by the minute. Where else could you go and find new vistas opening up every minute without having to travel anywhere else? Just get inside your mind. And there is a huge thrill. It makes for a lot of excitement and makes you exciting as well. So it is in the mind that you will find all the thrill and the excitement on all the change and innovation happening here. Now, after this, how do you get into your mind? How do you really get to know your mind? How do you get to know yourself? A great instrument in doing this, which brings us to the third point, is silence. Learn to be silent. How many of us really give ourselves time to be silent? I was reading the other day, I think it was a quote by Swami Brahmadev, where he said that prayer, a lot of us when we get into prayers, when we get into meditation, we think we should start a dialogue with God. So we start praying hard, God please give me this, God please give me that, excuse me for this lapse that I made, I'm sorry for that, and this is what I wish for, giving him a list of all that we want. But what I read was that actually prayer is supposed to be silence. You're supposed to listen in silence. Just go quiet. Go into a deep meditative silence. Silence is a learning process when it is deeply meditative. So when you are silent, a lot of thoughts fall into your head. You give yourself time to understand and to learn what you are all about, what life is all about, and what you want to do in your life. And silence comes to you when you are alone, which is our next point, our next step. When you are alone, cultivate aloneness. Aloneness is very different from loneliness. Loneliness is a state of the mind. When you are alone and you feel bored, you feel alone, you want company, you want people, then they say you are lonely. And you're not allowing your mind to go further than that. The deeper you get into that loneliness, try and enjoy it, try and live with it for a while, and you get to a state of being rather than a state of mind, and that state of being is aloneness. Aloneness is a very spiritual thing. Radha asked Lord Krishna, Lord, you love me, but why did you marry Rukmini? Why did you not marry me? And Krishna turns to her and says, Radha, for marriage, you need two people. You need two minds, you need two hearts, you need two souls. How could I have married you? We were always one. So even in a deep, loving relationship, two people become one. And it is that oneness, that aloneness, which is divinity, which is spirituality. So aloneness is what will lead you to spirituality as well. When you are alone, that is the time that you really learn all your lessons in life, because they are in your mind. Whatever you need from life is in your mind as memories. Whatever you want from life is in your mind as memories. And all of them come to the forefront when you are absolutely alone. A person living alone will find that the chaos of everyday life kind of melts away. You become one with nature. You become one with the world. You become the green in the trees. You become the scent of the flowers. You become the chirping of the birds. You become the shimmer in the sun and the moon. And you become soft and flowy like the breeze. And that is when you melt into nature, that you learn life's biggest lessons, and you understand the true value of life, and you understand what your own purpose in life is. So the next step is to understand the purpose of your life. How do you understand the purpose of your life? To understand the purpose of your life, ask yourself 3 questions. The first one is, what do I really like doing? We are all engaged in a number of activities on a daily basis. But out of those, there are 1 or maybe 2 that we really enjoy. We look forward to them, and those are the activities that we really enjoy. So that's one. Make a list of the activities that you really enjoy doing. Make a list of what comes naturally to you. Something that thrills you, something that excites you, that comes naturally to you. And make a list of what you dream of, what you think of, what you fantasize about. So you have here the things that you're already doing and you really enjoy doing them. You have the things that come naturally to you and you do them very well without making an effort. And then you have your fantasies and your imagination, which is really what you would actually want to do. When you bring all these 3 together and merge the lists, try and pick up these activities on a daily basis and see what really, do the happiness test. What do they really make you happy? What makes you happy? What keeps you happy? And that probably will bring you closest to the purpose of your life. You may feel scared of doing it, because anything good that happens, anything good that we look forward to is scary at first. But just push yourself into it, do it. And it will help you discover the purpose of your life, the true purpose of your life. And the purpose of your life could be anything really. We don't have to look outside to understand what's the purpose of our lives. We have to look within. We have to look into our minds, into our hearts, into our souls to understand what is the purpose of my life. Another tool that will help you understand the purpose of your life is if you really open up your eyes and your observation bars to the world around you. Looking out of the window, just don't gaze into the sky. Look around at things carefully, coming down the stairs, going up an elevator, going in the car. The other day I wrote in my column about an incident which happened to me the other day. I was just going along in the car and I was reading while I was sitting in the car. And while I was deep in a book, I wasn't looking around. And suddenly at one point I looked up and I started looking around. I didn't even look around, I just looked up and I saw this beautiful patch of green with beautiful flowers around it, and I thought the driver had got me somewhere else. And I told him, "Ye kahan aa gaye?" So he was taken aback, and then suddenly I realized that no, I'm on my usual path to office. It's just that in between there was this little patch which I had never focused on. I had just been looking at the entire vista. I had not focused on that little patch of green, and now when my eyes went to it, I discovered how beautiful it was and what I could take back from it. So that taught me how a narrow focus is very important. But a narrow focus is always important within the definition of a broader focus. So if medical science is getting better and better with a narrower focus, nobody can still deny the importance of a physician who sends you to the expert after taking a look at you and understanding what's wrong with you. If meditation requires deep focus, we are still meditating only to understand the broader vision of life. So a narrower focus based within a broader vision is what actually gets us to focus on what we really want to do with our lives and to understand it in the context of the larger purpose of life. Once you understand the purpose of your life, it is very important also to be positive, which brings us to the last point of being positive always. So learn to say an affirmative yes to all the things that make you happy, to all the things around you, everything that life gives you, which you really want to keep in your life. Say no to the things that you don't want, say a yes to the ones that you want. Healers and medical experts also now tell us how important it is to have a positive attitude. We learn of how a number of people have been able to fight back diseases by just being positive. In fact, some go so far as to say that we get ill because we want to be ill. Something within us wants to be ill. So we bring upon illnesses on ourselves. So if we understand this and we say yes to health, we say yes to happiness, we say yes to success, we say yes to spirituality, whatever we say yes to, we are bound to attract that towards our lives. Another way of being happy is to force happy moments on yourself. There are a lot of moments in everyday life, and I think when you look back on life, it's like a kind of a joining back of those moments. So the happier moments that you have, whether forced or they come naturally to you, the happier your life would have been. There was this book I read a long time ago in which there's this girl, and she's working in an antique shop where she's doing her regular work and she's bored with her work, she doesn't like doing it very much. One day, somebody brings an ancient wooden rocking horse to the shop and they want her to bring that horse back to life, so to say. So she starts working on it. It's given a fresh coat of white. It has a real hair, mane and tail. And she starts working on it and she realizes that she is feeling so happy working on it. She paints the horse white and then she decides to do red polka dots on the horse. So she enjoys making that red polka dot precisely every day so much that she wants to drag out that entire process for a very, very long time. So she limits herself to 1 dot a day, just 1 dot a day, not more than that, because otherwise the entire horse would have been done in a day or two and she won't have anything to do with it anymore. And it gives her happiness, so she wants to stretch it. So she continues doing that, and every day it becomes the highlight of her day. Everybody else leaves for lunch. She doesn't want to do it during her working hours because she doesn't consider it work. She considers it her moment of bliss, of happiness, her spot in the sunshine, so to say. So she does it in the lunch break and drags it on till the end of the lunch break. So each one of us has a moment, a spot in the sunshine every day. There is something every one of us looks forward to. It could even be just your cup of tea in the morning. It could be when you lay your hands on the newspaper. It could be the time when at lunch break you just sit down to chat with friends. It could be the moment when you come back home and you flick on the television or you just pick up a book and sit down to read it. It could be the moment you sit with your family and you chat with them. It could be any of these. But each of us has our moment, our spot in the sunshine. And if we don't, it is well worth it to create a moment in the sunshine, because that is what will give us happiness. And that happiness is something that will seep into our hearts and will open our hearts to the rest of the world. And seeping into our hearts, it will be like, like the silence, like the aloneness, like the happiness, the peace, the calm. It will be like, you'll feel it's like a mother's hand on your head, like a lover's caress on the body. It will feel like a beautiful touching of the spiritual and a touching of your mind. And it is this happiness, it is this sense of peace that will really lead you to understanding what it is that you want to change. What change do you really want to bring about? And you will feel empowered enough and powerful enough to be able to go for it and make that change. Thank you very much.